today I will be talking to you about physical, cognitive, and social development in infants and toddlers. Over the past month, I've been observing a 10-month-old at a local child care center. For confidentiality purposes, we're going to call her Caroline. She is in the transition class of this child care center, which consists of 7 children, 6 to 12 months old. She's the middle child in this classroom. My observations were generally conducted in the afternoon, just after their nap and right before their feeding time. For physical development, Caroline has just begun developing a regular sleep pattern. Her parents have reported that she sleeps generally throughout the whole night. She sleeps almost the full hour for the morning nap the children take at the child care center, and almost the full 2 hours that the children take in the afternoon. She holds her own bottle, and that's just the typical grasp with the thumbs underneath and the fingers wrapped around the top. She's actually pretty advanced in her motor skill development. She crawls, which is very typical for a 10-month-old, but she's also started to bear crawl, and she'll alternate between regular crawling and bear crawling to travel places. She can also stand up from a seated position. She can push herself into a standing position, and she's begun to take steps. When eating, especially items such as cereal and Cheerios, she has started to use the pincer grasp, which is using the thumb and index finger to pick up the items and place them into her mouth. And this is a very difficult fine motor skill for children to develop, and she is using it quite well for a 10-month-old. At home, if parents want to facilitate physical development, they can sing songs to their children, which is going to enhance auditory development. They can play with balls and practice rolling balls back and forth to children to work on their motor skills, and then practice walking. Caroline likes to hold on to the fingers of her teachers during the day, and they'll walk around with her and practice taking steps. For cognitive development, Caroline's at the sensory motor stage, which means they think with their ears, hands, and mouth. It's a very sensory-oriented type learning stage. During my observations, I observed an example of operant conditioning with their basketball goal in their room. They have a small child-sized basketball goal, and when you put the ball through the goal, it lights up and makes a bunch of noise. So the teacher showed Caroline a couple times how you put the ball through the goal and it lights up, and she gets very excited each time, and then eventually she started being able to do this on her own. To get an idea of Caroline's zone of proximal development, they have a little octopus toy in the room that also lights up and makes sounds, but in order to do that, you have to put a ball into a specific slot at the top of the octopus. She doesn't have enough motor skill development to do this on her own, so often the teacher will hold her hand and help her put it at the top, but that's an activity that they're working on together. To work on cognitive development at home, you can put floating toys in the bathtub with the children. A very inexpensive way is just take simple pots, pans, and spoons from the kitchen, and the kids can play with those and make noise. Stuffed animals and blocks are also good for facilitating cognitive development. Social development, since Caroline is coming towards the end of her first year, she is leaving the trust versus mistrust stage, and thankfully she's at the positive end of this stage, and that's definitely due to loving and nurturing that she gets at home and at school. She has a very easygoing and content personality, and she displays appropriate basic emotions such as sadness, fear, happiness. She's becoming self-aware. She often crawls up to the mirror in the room, and she'll try and play patty cake with herself and make different faces, and she's just becoming more aware of her emotions and different facial expressions. She's also learning a little bit about self-control. She doesn't typically respond when the teachers, or she doesn't respond regularly when teachers give her certain instructions, but she always responds to no. If the teachers tell her to stop doing something, she'll stop what she's doing, turn and look at them, and she's becoming more aware of her actions. At home, to facilitate social development, it's one of the easiest ways is just to expose your child to other children, schedule play dates and other activities with children of all ages, and dialogue is another easy way. Children often learn social skills from their parents and how their parents interact with people, so just talking to your child and facilitating that type of development, even though they can't talk back, just learning those type of skills will help them out a lot. And those are just kind of basic stages of physical, cognitive, and social development in infants and toddlers. Does anyone have any questions?